Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is something most people will never understand. In public, every gesture you make, every word you speak, and every emotion you show becomes a tool others can use for you or against you. Machiavelli warned that the world watches silently, judging constantly, and waiting for a moment of weakness. If you want to move with power, if you want people to respect you without you demanding it, then there are certain things you must never do in public. Break these rules, and you give others control over your image. Follow them, and you walk through the world untouchable. Never reveal your weaknesses, because the moment you expose even a small crack in your armor, the world begins shaping you not as you truly are, but as the vulnerable version you accidentally displayed. Machiavelli understood that people judge quickly and rarely revise their opinions. When they see hesitation, insecurity, or fear, they treat you according to that image, and this treatment slowly becomes your public identity. This is why a leader, or even an ordinary person trying to move through the world with dignity, must guard their weaknesses as fiercely as a treasure. Once people discover where you can be hurt, they no longer need strength to defeat you. They only need to press where you already struggle. In public, humans instinctively scan others for signs of confidence or frailty. When someone speaks, the tone of their voice reveals uncertainty. When someone walks, their posture exposes discomfort. When someone reacts emotionally, their face broadcasts exactly where they are fragile. You might think these are small details, but Machiavelli knew they shape perception more than facts ever do. People don't analyze you logically, they read you instinctually. If you show doubt, they assume you lack competence. If you show fear, they assume you are beneath them. If you show that someone's words hurt you, they learn how to hurt you again. By hiding weaknesses, you deny them the map that leads directly to your soft spots. Imagine two individuals entering a room, one visibly nervous, adjusting their clothes, avoiding eye contact, shifting from foot to foot. The other enters with calm steps, looks around without flinching, and remains composed even in silence. The difference in how people react to each of them is immediate. The nervous one triggers either pity or dominance. The composed one triggers respect, curiosity, or even caution. Nothing has been said, yet power has already shifted. Machiavelli would say this: people are ruled by appearances, and the one who controls his appearance controls the entire interaction. This does not mean you must be emotionless or perfect. It means you must be intentional. Internal chaos is allowed, external chaos is not. Even if you feel fear, speak as though you don't. Even if you doubt yourself, do not let that doubt escape through your face or body. Even if you are deeply hurt, do not allow the person who caused it to see the wound. Your private battles must remain private. Publicly, you present the version of yourself that protects you, not the version that exposes you. Weakness comes in many forms: insecurity about your looks, financial struggles, loneliness, jealousy, indecision, emotional sensitivity, lack of experience. These are human, but when displayed publicly, they invite people to place themselves above you. Some will exploit your vulnerability to feel superior. Others will use it to manipulate you. Some will judge you silently and reduce their respect without admitting it. Machiavelli observed this harsh reality. People are loyal to strength, not vulnerability. Even when they claim to value honesty or softness, their actions prove otherwise. Respect is rarely given to those who reveal too much of their inner frailty. By withholding your weaknesses, you maintain psychological advantage. People cannot predict your reactions, cannot calculate your limits, cannot decide where you stand in the social hierarchy. This ambiguity forces them to treat you cautiously, and caution naturally becomes respect. When you do choose to reveal something on your own terms, to someone you trust, it becomes a sign of intimacy, not a display of helplessness. True strength is not the absence of weakness. It is the discipline to control its visibility. Machiavelli's wisdom is simple. Show confidence even when you're uncertain. Show calm even when you're overwhelmed, and show control even when you feel none. The world only sees what you allow it to see, and by mastering what you show, you master how the world responds to you. Never speak without calculating the impact, because every word you release into the world becomes something you can't take back. Something that shapes how people see you, judge you, and respond to you. Machiavelli understood that speech is not merely communication. It is a weapon, a shield, and sometimes a trap you build for yourself. Most people talk to fill silence or satisfy emotion, but those who seek power speak for a purpose. They think before they speak, and even more importantly, they think before others hear them. It's not intelligence alone that gives someone influence. It's the discipline to pause before words escape their mouth. When you speak impulsively, you allow emotions to dictate your strategy. Anger makes you reveal truths you should have hidden. Excitement makes you promise things you cannot deliver. Fear makes you agree to things you do not want. Even simple nervousness can make your words appear uncertain, careless, or weak. And once spoken, those words live in the minds of others, shaping expectations and altering relationships in ways you cannot easily reverse. Machiavelli saw this clearly. People believe what you say more than they believe your intentions. Words become evidence even when you didn't mean them. That is why the wise think through the consequences of their words before they speak. In public situations, conversation is often a performance where everyone listens more carefully than they appear to. They are watching for signs of strength or incompetence, confidence or insecurity, control or chaos. A careless comment can make someone see you as unreliable. A joke delivered at the wrong moment can make you appear insensitive or foolish. A confession shared too quickly can signal desperation or weakness. Even expressing an opinion too strongly can create unnecessary enemies. Many conflicts, rivalries, and misunderstandings begin not because someone acted poorly, but because someone spoke without strategy. Calculated speech, however, is powerful because it shows that your mind is disciplined. When you choose your words deliberately, people notice. Your silence becomes meaningful, your sentences become sharp, and your presence gains weight. Speaking less makes people listen more. When you do talk, they assume you have thought it through, and this perception alone increases your authority. Humans trust those who speak with clarity and purpose, even if they disagree with the message. Confident, intentional speech gives your words a kind of gravity that impulsive speakers will never have. To calculate the impact of your words, you first consider your audience. Who is listening? What do they value? What do they fear? What do they expect? Machiavelli understood that the same sentence can empower you in one environment but ruin you in another. A strong opinion expressed among supporters becomes leadership. Expressed among rivals, it becomes ammunition against you. Knowing who hears you is as important as knowing what you say. When speaking in front of many, imagine every listener holding a different interpretation of your words. Your goal is to avoid accidental interpretations that harm you. You also think about timing. Words spoken too early reveal your intentions before they are ready. Words spoken too late lose their power. Sometimes silence is the most strategic response because it allows others to reveal more than you. People underestimate how much advantage is gained simply by letting others speak first. They will expose their weaknesses, their motivations, and their emotional state all while you observe quietly and choose your next step with precision. Silence used wisely is not a lack of words. It is the preparation for the right words. Lastly, calculated speech protects your reputation. Every time you speak, you add another brick to the structure of how people see you. You either build a fortress or you build a fragile house. A person who speaks thoughtfully appears mature, disciplined, and in control. A person who speaks thoughtlessly appears unstable and unreliable. Over time, this difference determines whether people trust you, follow you, fear you, or ignore you. Machiavelli believed that power belongs to those who master themselves, and mastering speech is one of the clearest signs of self-control. Before your words leave your mouth, imagine them traveling into the world and shaping your future. If they don't serve you, don't release them. Silence costs nothing. Impulsive words can cost everything. Never show emotional outbursts, because when emotions control your actions in public, they betray your inner state and reveal vulnerabilities that others can exploit. Machiavelli understood that people are always watching, whether openly or in subtle observation, and they are quick to read signals of instability. Anger, fear, frustration, excitement, or sorrow, any uncontrolled emotion becomes a signpost pointing directly to your weaknesses. The moment you lose composure, you hand power to those around you, even unintentionally, and the world begins to perceive you not as you wish to be seen, but as you truly are at your most vulnerable. Strength is as much about perception as reality, and those who master their outward demeanor maintain control over how others interact with them. Emotional displays make your behavior predictable. People can anticipate your reactions and exploit them strategically. If you react with anger, Rivals learn how to provoke you. If you display fear, they recognize your limits. If you become overly joyful or excited, they may suspect naivety or gullibility. Every uncontrolled response is a clue that reduces the uncertainty about you, and Machiavelli recognized that uncertainty is a source of power. When others cannot read you, they act cautiously. When they can predict you, they act confidently, often at your expense. Emotional control is therefore not merely a personal discipline, it is a tactical advantage. Consider the various forms of emotional outbursts and their consequences. Anger can ruin reputations and relationships. It signals impatience and invites conflict. Fear, even subtle hesitation, signals weakness and insecurity. Excitement or excessive joy can betray inexperience or overconfidence, encouraging manipulation. Sadness or despair can undermine your authority, making you appear dependent or vulnerable. Even small reactions, such as a frown, a sigh, or a gesture of frustration, communicate more than the words you speak. The public mind is acutely sensitive to these cues, often judging intentions and character based on what is revealed involuntarily. Machiavelli observed that controlling these small signals is as critical as controlling major actions because perception shapes influence and respect. Emotional discipline begins with self-awareness. You must understand which emotions you are prone to reveal and in what circumstances. You must anticipate situations that might provoke a strong reaction and prepare yourself in advance to maintain composure. This is not about suppression or denial of your feelings. It is about mastery, about projecting calm, deliberation, and authority, regardless of what you feel inside. A leader who maintains this discipline appears strong, confident, and unshakable, and others defer to such authority, even if it is partly an illusion. Illusion, in this case, is as effective as reality because people respond to what they see, not always to what truly exists beneath the surface. Emotional control also affects decision-making. When you act out of anger or panic, you lose clarity and risk making choices that harm you or your position. Strategic thinking requires calm observation, careful calculation, and measured response. Machiavelli repeatedly emphasized that leaders who allow passion to override reason invite disaster. In public, every action is scrutinized, and those who react impulsively provide others with leverage, criticism, or opportunity. Calmness under pressure signals mastery, not just over oneself but over circumstances. And mastery encourages obedience, respect, and caution among observers. To maintain this composure, one must also understand the social context. Different environments provoke different emotional reactions, and each setting has its own audience ready to judge. Even when provoked by insult, challenge, or betrayal, maintaining control conveys authority. Silence can be more powerful than speech. A measured glance more impactful than an exclamation. By controlling visible emotion, you manipulate the environment in your favor without overt confrontation, demonstrating power subtly yet unmistakably. People tend to mirror what they perceive. Calmness breeds restraint in others, whereas visible emotion can incite chaos, fear, or aggression around you. Machiavelli's insight into public conduct reflects a deep understanding of human psychology. People are drawn to strength and repelled by volatility. Emotional outbursts erode credibility and reduce influence. By maintaining control over visible emotions, you create a persona that commands respect, deters aggression, and protects your strategic position. Mastery of emotional expression is therefore not optional. It is essential to navigating social and political landscapes, to maintaining authority, and to ensuring that others respond to you according to your intentions, rather than the impulses of the moment. Never display your true intentions because revealing your plans too early removes the advantage of surprise and allows others to manipulate or counter your actions. Machiavelli understood that human beings are strategic and opportunistic by nature. They are constantly assessing motives, anticipating moves, and looking for ways to benefit themselves at the expense of others. When you show your cards, even partially, you surrender control of the situation. People begin to act not in accordance with your goals but in anticipation of them, which often undermines your objectives before you have a chance to realize them. Concealment is not deceit for the sake of immorality. It is strategy for the sake of survival and success. Intentions revealed in public or even among trusted allies can become dangerous tools in the wrong hands. Rivals may use the information to block your progress, competitors may exploit it to gain advantage, and those you consider friends may adjust their behavior to manipulate your outcome. Machiavelli recognized that appearances are more powerful than reality. People judge based on what they perceive, not necessarily on what is true. By hiding your motives, you control the narrative, forcing others to respond to what you show them rather than what you secretly aim to achieve. This control is the essence of influence and authority. In practice, this means that every action, gesture, and word should be deliberately crafted to obscure your true purpose. When interacting with others, you may appear compliant, neutral, or even uninterested while quietly advancing your own goals. The world is filled with observers who interpret honesty as predictability and openness as opportunity. If you act transparently, you become easier to predict and easier to manipulate. By maintaining ambiguity, you keep others cautious and deferential, uncertain of how to challenge you. This uncertainty itself becomes a source of power because people instinctively fear the unknown more than the visible threat. The danger of revealing intentions is amplified when emotions or impatience dictate your behavior. Excitement, eagerness, or anxiety can slip into conversation, gestures, or facial expressions, inadvertently signaling what you plan to do. Even subtle clues can be enough for shrewd observers to anticipate your next move. Machiavelli emphasized the importance of disciplined restraint in such situations. Strategic thinkers mask enthusiasm, conceal urgency, and maintain composure to prevent others from reading their intentions. Every detail you expose is potentially a tool for someone else. Every silence or calculated ambiguity protects your position. Timing is critical in controlling the perception of your intentions. Revealing too early may allow others to prepare countermeasures or sabotage your plan. Revealing too late may cause missed opportunities or misunderstandings that erode trust. The key is to control the flow of information according to your strategic needs, not according to social norms or emotional impulses. Machiavelli would argue that power comes to those who manage perception, not merely to those with superior resources or intelligence. By carefully revealing only what is necessary at the right moment, you maintain the upper hand while others remain reactive and uncertain. Manipulating appearances does not require complete deception. It requires selective disclosure and careful framing of your actions. You can appear collaborative while pursuing your own interests, act cautiously while preparing decisive moves, or feign ignorance while observing others' weaknesses. The public rarely sees what is hidden beneath such calculated behavior, and this hidden advantage allows you to maneuver effectively. People respond to what they see, so by controlling what is visible, you control their responses and shape the environment to your advantage. Trust, too, is managed by this principle. When intentions are hidden, alliances are built on observation and verification rather than blind faith. People are compelled to earn information from you through loyalty, discretion, or usefulness. This dynamic reinforces your authority because others perceive that you are not easily read or influenced. In contrast, revealing your intentions freely diminishes your leverage, making you vulnerable to exploitation and manipulation. Machiavelli's insight reveals a fundamental truth about human interaction. Knowledge is power, and withholding knowledge about your plans is as important as executing them. By concealing your true intentions, you maintain control over how others respond, retain strategic flexibility, and protect yourself from those who would use transparency against you. The disciplined concealment of your motives ensures that you operate from a position of strength, shaping outcomes rather than reacting to them, and establish an authority that is respected, feared, and rarely challenged. Never undermine your own reputation, because in the world, perception often carries more weight than reality. Machiavelli understood that the way people see you determines how they treat you. And once your reputation is damaged, your influence and authority begin to erode even if your actual abilities remain intact. Reputation is not merely about honor or pride. It is a strategic asset that shapes social interactions, political power, and personal opportunities. When you fail to protect it, you give others the opportunity to question your competence, doubt your intentions, or manipulate your perceived weaknesses. The careful cultivation of a strong public image is therefore not vanity. It is a necessity for survival and influence. Reputation acts as a lens through which all your actions are interpreted. If people believe you are unreliable, even careful planning or genuine effort will be discounted or mistrusted. If they perceive you as weak, competitors and rivals will test your boundaries and challenge your authority. Conversely, if your reputation signals strength, intelligence, and decisiveness, others will approach interactions with caution, respect, or even fear, giving you a psychological advantage before any words are spoken or actions taken. Machiavelli emphasized that public perception is a form of currency. Once lost, it is extremely difficult to regain, and the consequences of its loss can last far longer than any immediate mistake. Every action, statement, and association contributes to your reputation, whether you intend it or not. People observe subtle cues: how you handle conflict, how you treat those with less power, how you respond to praise or criticism. Even small lapses, if noticed publicly, can erode the carefully constructed image you have cultivated. Gossip, rumors, and misunderstandings travel quickly, and humans are predisposed to judge based on partial information. Machiavelli recognized that proactive management of reputation is essential because once a negative perception takes root, people rarely reassess it objectively. Reputation is resilient to logic but fragile to perception. Undermining your reputation often comes from carelessness or a lack of foresight. Speaking impulsively, showing uncontrolled emotions, failing to honor commitments, or aligning with those of questionable character can all slowly corrode your public image. People may interpret even minor errors as signs of broader flaws. Machiavelli warned that it is far easier to maintain a strong reputation than to repair a damaged one. A single incident of indiscretion or misjudgment can undo years of careful behavior, because the public rarely separates isolated mistakes from character. Protecting your reputation requires constant vigilance and deliberate action. Strategic management of reputation also involves choosing what others see and hear about you. Control over the narrative allows you to highlight strengths, accomplishments, and qualities that reinforce authority while minimizing exposure to potential weaknesses. Actions that might seem trivial in private can carry public consequences if observed or interpreted wrongly. Machiavelli emphasized that projecting decisiveness, courage, and competence, even when circumstances are uncertain, solidifies public confidence in your capabilities. People naturally gravitate toward and defer to those who appear strong and consistent, and they are more likely to follow leaders who embody reliability and prudence. Associations matter as much as individual actions. The company you keep, the causes you support, and the alliances you form all reflect upon your character. Machiavelli understood that reputational risk is cumulative and social. Aligning with those of questionable repute can transfer negative perceptions onto you, while strategic alliances can enhance your status and credibility. Maintaining distance from scandal, avoiding unnecessary conflicts, and choosing public interactions carefully are essential to preserving the integrity of your image. Ultimately, a strong reputation functions as a form of protection. It discourages challenges, deters rivals, and creates opportunities that would otherwise be unavailable. People respect and trust those whose reputation precedes them, often giving the benefit of the doubt in situations where others would face skepticism. Conversely, a tarnished reputation invites scrutiny, undermines influence, and makes even competent actions appear flawed. Machiavelli taught that public perception is both shield and sword. Carefully nurtured, it empowers you to act decisively and strategically in every arena of life. By never undermining your reputation, you ensure that others view you through a lens of respect, caution, and recognition of your authority, which in turn strengthens your position and amplifies your power in ways that mere skill or intelligence alone cannot achieve. Never trust too easily, because human nature is complex, self-interested, and often opportunistic. Machiavelli understood that the world is filled with people who observe, calculate, and act in ways that serve their own advantage. Blind trust exposes you to manipulation, betrayal, and unforeseen setbacks. While loyalty and goodwill exist, they are far less reliable than strategy, vigilance, and careful assessment of motives. Trusting indiscriminately allows others to gain leverage over you, exploit your weaknesses, or act against your interests while hiding behind a facade of friendship or allegiance. The disciplined mind recognizes that caution is not cynicism. It is survival. Human behavior is rarely transparent. Individuals may speak of loyalty, promise support, or express solidarity, yet their underlying intentions can differ drastically from their words. Machiavelli observed that many betray not out of malice but out of opportunity. When a chance arises to advance themselves at your expense, they will take it without hesitation. Those who trust too easily often fail to notice subtle signals of deception, slight hesitations, selective omissions, or inconsistencies in speech. By the time a betrayal becomes obvious, significant damage may already have occurred. The prudent person, therefore, evaluates trustworthiness carefully, testing loyalty and observing patterns of behavior before relying on anyone fully. Public interactions magnify the consequences of misplaced trust. In politics, business, or social influence, one unguarded alliance or one overlooked motive can cascade into a series of setbacks. Rivals may pretend to support your goals while secretly undermining them. Colleagues may accept your guidance while plotting to seize opportunities for themselves. Even casual acquaintances can spread rumors, misrepresent intentions, or manipulate outcomes to their benefit. Trusting recklessly in such environments is equivalent to leaving your defenses unguarded, exposing vulnerabilities to those who are constantly assessing them. Machiavelli's counsel emphasizes selective trust. It is not a prescription for paranoia, but a call for careful judgment. Observe actions more than words, and measure reliability over time. Trust should be conditional, earned through consistent behavior, and reinforced by mutual benefit, rather than assumed from appearances. Those who offer loyalty in exchange for nothing often have hidden motives. Conversely, those who demonstrate alignment with your interests repeatedly and transparently over time can become genuinely dependable allies. The wise always maintain a margin of caution, even in relationships that seem secure, because human behavior can shift when circumstances change. Trust too easily, and you surrender control of the narrative and outcomes. People who know they are trusted may exploit this knowledge to manipulate your decisions, influence your reputation, or gain material or strategic advantage. By exercising caution, you retain the power to act independently and decisively, free from covert manipulation. Machiavelli stressed that power is not only in action but in anticipation. Anticipating the self-interest of others allows you to safeguard your position and prevent others from gaining leverage. A disciplined approach to trust ensures that you maintain authority over your own affairs and minimize exposure to betrayal. Moreover, trusting too readily can create a false sense of security, making you complacent in judgment and reducing vigilance. People are more likely to overcommit, make careless decisions, or fail to prepare for contingencies when they assume the loyalty of others without verification. Machiavelli recognized that prudence and skepticism are strategic tools, not moral failings. By being cautious, observing motives, and testing intentions, you not only protect yourself but also encourage others to demonstrate reliability, creating a system in which trust is based on evidence rather than assumption. Strategic mistrust also serves as a deterrent. When people sense that their actions are monitored and that trust must be earned, they are less likely to act opportunistically against you. This creates a social environment in which loyalty is reinforced and betrayal is discouraged, even among those naturally inclined towards self-interest. By controlling access to your confidence, you control the balance of power in relationships, ensuring that others act within boundaries that preserve your interests. Machiavelli's wisdom teaches that cautious trust is not a lack of humanity, but an essential discipline for navigating complex social landscapes, maintaining authority, and safeguarding your long-term objectives. In conclusion, the world watches more closely than you realize, and every word, action, and gesture shapes how others perceive and respond to you. Machiavelli teaches that power, influence, and respect are rarely granted. They are earned and preserved through discipline, strategy, and awareness. By never revealing your weaknesses, speaking without thought, showing emotional outbursts, exposing your intentions, undermining your reputation, or trusting too easily, you protect yourself from manipulation and command authority in every environment. These are not merely rules of caution, they are tools to navigate the complexities of human behavior, ensuring that you move through the world not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone who shapes it to their advantage. Mastering these principles allows you to act deliberately, project strength, and maintain control over your destiny, because in public, perception is reality, and those who control perception ultimately control power.